The internet went crazy over the Bricks and Minifigs Lego scandal. I watched every single video. Law and Crime covered it and left out the most important parts. Legal Eagle spent a full hour breaking down the law and accidentally gave the corporation cover. I read the comment and went through every document, and what I found is something most channels are completely avoiding. This is not a story about Lego. This is a story about how a corporation can take what is yours, use the legal system as a wall to keep it, and then use a police force as a weapon against anyone who tries to break through. It's wild. Bricks and Minifigs told the world their rules banned consignment. They said it publicly, they said it to police, they put it in their official statement. But their own contract, the one they wrote, the one they handed to their store owners, says this on page 1. Franchisees may also offer consignment services. Their own words, their own document, a direct lie in public about their own written rules. But that is not even the worst part. The man who took over that store and refused to return the collection, he was not some random new owner. He was a Bricks and Minifigs corporate employee, a close personal friend of the CEO. They served as missionaries together. He was inside that store the night of the takeover, on the phone with corporate, while the previous owner was being walked out. He knew exactly what was on those shelves. So let's go back to the beginning, because once you see how this was built, you will recognize it. You have seen this before. Maybe not with Lego, but you have seen it. By the way, all the related public document is in the description if you want to check that out. All right, let's go. Eric Mansell is 83 years old. He and his son Brian spent decades collecting retired Star Wars Lego sets. 780 sets, still sealed, never opened. One single set, the Cloud City, is worth over $10,000. The whole collection, around $200,000.
I can confidently say this is, without a doubt, the most amazing Star Wars Lego collection I have ever gotten my hands on. So again, this is going to be real quick because they're in boxes, but I wanted to give you just a little peek. Here we go.
The plan was simple: sell it, take care of an aging father. So Brian walks into a Bricks and Minifigs store in Salem, Oregon. He makes a deal with the store owner, a woman named Crystal Law, a consignment agreement. Basically, Brian lets Crystal sell his sets, but they are still his until someone buys them. She sells one, she keeps a cut, Brian gets the rest. Nothing sells, she gives everything back. That's it, simple. The contract says it in one sentence. Consigned merchandise shall remain the property of Mansell until sold. His stuff, full stop. The store posts about the collection on social media. They bring in extra shelving just to hold it.
This was a store's worth of inventory. So that store that day was nothing but my dad's collection. Like, all the shelves filled. They had to bring in extra shelves and filled the whole party room with shelves.
Customers buy. Brian gets paid every month. For almost a year, it works perfectly. But in November 2024, Crystal contacts corporate. She's thinking about moving abroad. She wants to know her options.
My husband and I were planning on moving out of the country. I reached out to corporate to let them know, hey, this is something that's coming up in the next like 4 to 5 months.
That same day, corporate sends someone to her store, not to talk, to take the keys. A corporate rep named Kai McAllister shows up that night. He tells Crystal to hand everything over. She pushes back. He says, caught on the store's own security camera, if we go the legal route, it's going to be a very expensive battle for you. Crystal is walked out of her own store that night with one box of personal belongings. But before she goes, she tells McAllister that Brian's collection is in the store, that Brian has not been fully paid, that there is a consignment agreement. McAllister's response, recorded on camera, he takes on all that. Meaning, whoever is taking over, they take on the consignment. So who is taking over? Joshua Johnson, a Bricks and Minifigs corporate employee, a personal friend of the CEO, a man who was already inside that store, on the phone with corporate, the night Crystal was removed.
Yeah, otherwise I would know. These are ones that he has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have new tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay.
Okay. So Crystal, ultimately, that's a business thing and not necessarily yours. Brandon will take, because he's taking on the business, he takes on all that outside that part.
I want to go through and figure it out. So, I gave you the mailbox and the silver. And then the keys for the back storeroom and the safe are in the safe.
He knew about the collection. He was there. And the next morning, Brian's ownership stickers started disappearing from the shelves.
And I said, what happened to Crystal? And he goes, well, that's kind of a private matter, but the corporation's taken over the store. There's something I can do to help you with. I said, well, yeah. I am the owner of about half your store's inventory. All those vintage Star Wars sets you have in there are ours. And he goes, I don't know anything about that. I said, well, you better get to learn about it because I have a contract, I have photo evidence, video evidence, like that is our collection. So I went down to the store, brought a copy of the contract. We're like, you need to let me in back and let me see the sets that you still have. All you have to do is let me in back. We can go that route or we can go to court. And the guy just looks at me, crosses his arms and goes, let me tell you what's going to happen. If we go to court, we're going to drag this thing out so long and you're going to end up spending so much more money than your collection is ever worth or what you ever would have gotten out of it, that it ain't worth it, man. So
that is not a threat. That is a confession. Before we move forward with the story, I want to acknowledge, and this is something no one is talking about, is that Crystal is also another protagonist, and she was forced to be removed from his own store and actually get threatened by the corporate. I mean, that's pretty devastating. Let's get back to the story. So you would think Brian has a contract. He has documentation. He has photos. He has video evidence. Just hire a lawyer, take them to court, win. That is what you would think. Brian tried lawyers, multiple lawyers. Every single one said the same thing. You are probably right, but it will cost more to fight them than you will ever get back. That is the trap, not the missing collection. The trap is that the legal system, the one you are supposed to run to, costs more to use than the thing that was taken from you. Corporations know this. They count on it. Brian went to the police. The police said, civil matter. He pushed harder. He submitted more evidence. He got a lawyer to send a formal demand letter. The case went to the Marion County District Attorney. The DA declined to prosecute. Not because Brian was wrong, because it was, and I'm quoting directly here, a matter to be resolved between attorneys. Every door closed. If you are watching this right now because something was taken from you, and a lawyer looked you in the eye and said it costs more to fight than it's worth, I need you to stay with me. Because this next part is exactly why that answer is not the end of the road. So Brian did what people in his position are told never to do. He went outside the system. He reached out to a YouTuber named Ben Schneider, known online as Reckless Ben. Ben's videos get millions of views. The story goes national. I recommend you to watch some of his latest video on this case for deeper analysis. Now, instead of simply returning the collection, Bricks and Minifigs called the police. Not in Oregon, in Utah, where the new franchise owners lived. Ben flies to Utah, not to threaten anyone, to serve court papers, a step the court itself requires before a lawsuit can move forward.
I wish we could just send him an email, I wish we could just send him a phone call, or the court could just send it to him, but this is what we're required to do from the United States court. So we're just following the instructions of the government. He thinks if I just call the cops on me, he can get away with it, but we're showing him, like, we're not going to let him get away with his crime, so.
Okay. You okay if I give these papers to him?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Hang tight. Are you okay if she just gives you the papers so we can just get her? Have you looked at the papers? I've talked to the guys.
But the American Fork Police Department had other ideas. Ben gets pulled over. Before he even introduces himself, an officer leans in and says, "Are you Ben? How is Utah?" Then smirks. Ben's team is searched for 3 hours over an anonymous tip about heroin. They find nothing. Ben gets arrested for stalking, then arrested again, a second charge, then a SWAT-style raid on his Airbnb. over a Lego dispute. What an excellent way to utilize our taxes by the police department. So when the Bodycam footage leaked, unredacted, here is what people saw. Officers on camera asking whether they have actual charges or are just tired of Ben being annoying. Officers muting their body cams while taking calls from BAM corporate. A court clerk confirming the papers Ben is trying to serve are completely legitimate. The officer takes those papers and hands them back, because Johnson doesn't want them. Multiple officers involved appear on the Brady list, a documented record of law enforcement officers with histories of dishonesty on official reports. And one officer, caught on camera, tells Ben, "We play differently here." 32,000 people liked that comment, because they all understood exactly what it meant. After he got bailed out, Ben left for Mexico, aware the department was moving toward non-bailable charges. Here is where things stand right now. The GoFundMe Ben started for the Mansell family passed $382,000. Bricks and Minifigs permanently closed the Salem store. They parted ways with Joshua Johnson and Brandon Best, while still insisting they did nothing wrong. Multiple lawsuits are active. Civil rights attorneys are now involved in Ben's defense. Police department is under scrutiny unlike anything in their history. And Bricks and Minifigs, a company worth an estimated $95 million, is watching their brand collapse. God's watching, and that's what happens when you get greedy and torment the good people. All of this over a collection they could have simply returned. This is not about Lego. You already know that. The worst part of all this, they do not need to beat you in court. They just need to make you run out of money before you get there. Brian Mansell had a contract. He had evidence. Multiple lawyers confirmed he was right. He still almost lost everything. Quietly. The only reason you know his name is because one person refused to let it disappear. If you are facing a legal situation, please speak with a licensed attorney. The Mansell family spent over a year being told their problem was too small to matter. It was never too small. It was just inconvenient for the people with the power to fix it.